Hey guys, I want to talk to you about the most important aspect to dog training, or at least to dog training success. It's a concept that's often overlooked and is not very popular. So that being said, I'm going to tell you what that is. So what precipitated this video, what made me want to do this video, was I had a conversation earlier today with a colleague of mine who trains dogs and walks dogs and has a client that is who is frustrating to work with because when the dog is with him, dog is perfectly behaved or close to perfectly behaved. Does okay around other dogs, is good with him, but when the dog is back in the home, everything falls apart. The dog has severe anxiety. And what the owners have said to him is that they don't feel like the work that he's doing is being effective because when the dog's home, they don't see that much change. So this is a classic syndrome, because what happens is no matter how good you are as a trainer, no matter how much knowledge, experience, ability that you have as a trainer, you can only create so much change and behavior modification in a dog because eventually that dog has to go home. So if the owner is either reluctant to implement what the trainer has told them or incapable of doing it, then you're never going to see the kind of results that you want. So this is why this is unpopular, because many people don't truly grasp the concept of a dog requiring leadership in the home and not requiring excessive affection all day long and coddling. It's so difficult to get this across to a human about their dog and help them to understand that this is why the dog has anxiety, this is why the dog has developed overreactivity to other dogs, overprotectiveness with people, and so on and so forth, is because the owner presents themselves all day long in a soft way to the dog. They're either coddling the dog, giving the dog massive amounts of affection, baby talking the dog, not giving the dog any boundaries whatsoever. The dog has free reign of the home. They give their children and their spouses more boundaries than they give their dogs. And there's a huge fallout to that. So what I see happening is a human being unwilling to let go of their feelings and how they perceive or what they feel the relationship between a dog and a dog owner should be. A concept that maybe started when they were very young. They had a family dog. Everybody loved the dog. The kids were able to roll around with the dog, and the dog, they didn't care if the dog walked ahead of them or the dog was just in the backyard. I kind of grew up like that, tell you the truth. We never walked our dogs when I was growing up, and for a long time we didn't even have our dogs fenced in. Way back when I was in grammar school, which was crazy, but when I look back on it, but we just didn't. That wasn't the way my parents did it. So we have this concept that we just remember that everything was cool then and we were able to do whatever we wanted with the dog, but now we have a dog that is requiring far more from us. But there's a reluctance to give it up because what they want to do is hang on to what they feel the relationship should be based on. So what I was talking to this trainer about this morning, this is what I refer to it as, that the owners of this particular dog, and many owners that I deal with, many clients that I deal with, need to have basically a born again experience in order for them to change. They need to get to the point with their dog where the behavior is so out of control, or one of the spouses says to the other, we have to rehome this dog or take it to the pound or whatever, and there's a wake-up call. It has to be so strong in order for the client to just flat out embrace what the trainer is telling them to do. You see, there's nothing in it for me to tell you that you can't do the same things you used to do and still have success with your dog. There's nothing in it for me. I'm not just a mean girl that wants to take all your fun away by telling you can't coddle your dog. You can't comfort your dog when they're upset because it just nurtures whatever they're feeling. It's not a good idea to have the dog sleep with you if the dog has been overprotective or gone after other dogs in the home. That's a bad setup. There's nothing in it for me, you see. If I could tell you that you could do whatever you wanted and still have the same outcome as I do with your dog, I would. I don't want to be the fun killer, but I'm just going by the reality that I know about dogs and how they are in their natural world and what they require in order to stay balanced. Because in their natural world, they don't live with excitement. They don't live with constant treats, constant petting, constant praise, constant coddling. That's not the natural world of the dog. So when that's all we bring to the table, the dog becomes extremely confused and extremely anxiety ridden because they don't know how to operate in that kind of world. So I've been thinking about this all day since I talked to him, because I know it's frustrating, because as trainers, most of us have true love for dogs. That's why we got into this business in the first place. I got into it because I had done rescue for so many years before I finally realized that there was another aspect to having a successful placement, being able to keep a dog in a home, and that was to basically help the owner understand what it is that they need to do in order to keep the dog stable and in this particular home environment. So it's kind of maddening, because you want so badly to help, but there are so many people that just cling to that notion of what they want. And what this comes down to is it's not about your feelings, unfortunately. I wish it were, because I sometimes miss those days of being able to do whatever I want with my dogs and still have the same outcome. But I have 10 personal dogs. If I started that with my dogs, I would have massive fights, which is what I used to have way back in the day. So I want any of you that are having these kinds of issues, that are still struggling with it, I want you to take this into account, that your trainer may be super bright. He or she may be giving you every single thing that you need to know in terms of techniques and tools and strategies and protocols, schedules, all these different things. But if you don't bring that leadership part of you to the dog, and if you only insist on being your dog's lover and that's it, you're never going to get there. Unfortunately, you're just not. So I want you to really kind of think about this, see if you could, at the very least, try withholding some of these things from your dog. I will be willing to bet you that your dog's behavior his feelings aren't going to be hurt because you're not coddling him. His feelings aren't going to be hurt because he's not sleeping in bed with you. The dog is actually going to celebrate and appreciate the fact that you have given him a boundary, that you're not constantly up in him all the time, and that you're relating to him the way he needs to be related to, he or she, whatever. So I hope that helped. Have a great rest of the day, and I love you guys, and we will talk soon. Have a great week as well.